It is the most recognized neighborhood in Washington, DC, a gorgeous historic community loved and admired by residents and visitors alike. It oozes history with its cobblestone sidewalks, iconic row houses, vibrant cultural scene, and scenic waterfront. It is so charming, in fact, that many movies have been filmed here, like A Few Good Men, Wonder Woman, The Exorcist, and St. Elmo's Fire. So what's not to like? Well, there are a few things you should know and would certainly want to consider before buying a home in Georgetown. Today, we are going to take a look at the good and the bad of calling Georgetown home. Be sure to stick around to the end, as I'm going to tell you about the most appealing aspect of Georgetown homes that most outsiders don't know, and a unique story about Georgetown. Hey, it's Brad here. If you're thinking about moving to Washington, DC or the surrounding area, go ahead and subscribe below so you can be the first to learn about the current market here in Washington. I'm a local real estate agent serving DC, Maryland, and Virginia. I have lived in all three, so I love helping people just like you make their move here. So whether it's next week, next month, or next year, feel free to reach out or set up a Zoom. All my contact information is below. I'm happy to help you make a smooth landing here in Washington, DC. Okay, let's start here. Where is Georgetown? Well, Georgetown is made up of a historic neighborhood and a thriving commercial district. It's situated on the southwestern border of the District of Columbia. Just across the Potomac River is Arlington, Virginia. 6 miles to the north, you have Bethesda, Maryland. 8 miles to the west, you have McLean and Tysons. And 8 miles to the south, you have Alexandria, Virginia. To the east of Georgetown, you have downtown DC, which is made up of DC's office district, the White House, the Capitol, and many of the Smithsonian museums. So what is it like to live in Georgetown? It was originally established as a tobacco port and housed a lumber yard, a cement works, and a flour mill. Those businesses are long gone, but the remnants of those buildings are still there, and in their place, you've got high-end boutiques, designer retail stores, famous restaurants, and chic cafes, all within a short walk or stroll. You'll even find some restaurants which have gained national attention, such as Georgetown Cupcake. There was a reality show in the early 2000s called DC Cupcake, based around the two Greek sisters who own the business. It's a very popular spot with tourists and locals alike, so don't be surprised to see a line outside. The median age of Georgetown is 43. 95% are college educated, and almost 60% have a master's degree. According to citydata.com, about a third of the households have children, and the median household income is a little greater than $150,000. In addition to being an affluent neighborhood, Georgetown is rooted in its strong sense of community and pride. The residents there cherish the neighborhood history, which fosters a real camaraderie among the neighbors. One of the standout features of Georgetown, no doubt, is its historic charm. Wandering through its streets, you're surrounded by the well-preserved architecture, dating back centuries. Georgetown was founded in 1789, which actually predates Washington, DC itself. There is so much historic character to daily life. Personally, I cannot walk through Georgetown without stopping and taking pictures. There's so much visual eye candy, I never tire of it. From the iconic Georgetown University campus to the charming Wisconsin Avenue, every corner of Georgetown exudes a timeless elegance, let's say. It's the blend of historic landmarks, upscale boutiques, and vibrant cultural scene that creates a unique and charming ambiance. It is so well crafted, in fact, that the entire neighborhood of Georgetown is actually a historic district and a national historic landmark. The architectural charm is due to many federal-style row houses, along with a few grandiose mansions. You'll find a captivating array of buildings like the Volta Laboratory and Bureau, founded by Alexander Graham Bell as his first research lab, the Old Stone House, which is the oldest structure in Washington, which is now a park, the former Riggs Bank building at the corner of M Street in Wisconsin. There is also Martin's Tavern, which was originally opened in 1933. Besides its food, it's most famous for the spot where John F. Kennedy proposed to Jackie Kennedy in a little booth in the restaurant. And yes, that same booth is still there to today. Georgetown has a beautiful waterfront where you'll find many great restaurants, a large 10-acre park, and a boardwalk. It's common to see many boats docked up at the Washington Harbor to grab a bite or a drink, especially on a nice day. And when in season, you can see the Georgetown University rowing teams on the water practicing with the Arlington skyline as a backdrop. So, what does it cost to live in Georgetown? Well, the overall cost to live in Georgetown is 50% above the national average. Georgetown's upscale amenities and prestigious address means the cost of living in the neighborhood can be prohibitive for some. Real estate prices are among the highest in the city. Additionally, everyday expenses such as groceries and dining out tend to be on the pricier side. This incredible convenience, though, paired with a neighborhood about as charming as they come, does come at a higher price. So how expensive are the homes in Georgetown? Well, to have a home in Georgetown, you would be in some great company. Former Georgetown residents have included the Kennedys, Thomas Jefferson, Elizabeth Taylor, Julia Childs, Madeleine Albright. The current average price point for a home is $1.5 million. The cheapest home sold in the last 6 months was $350,000. It was a 500 square feet, 1-bedroom condo. And the most expensive was a 3-house compound formerly owned by Jacqueline Kennedy for $15 million. About half the homes sold are attached row houses. 45% are condos and 5% are detached homes. For a 2-bedroom, expect to pay anywhere between $450,000 and $2 million. A 3-bedroom can range from $1.2 to $2.7 million. A 4-bedroom can range $2.3 to $5.1 million, and a 5-bedroom up to $5.5 million. For those who find that a little out of reach, neighborhoods just to the north, like Burleith, Hillendale, can provide a little more affordable options than Georgetown itself. It's also very important to note that parking in Georgetown can be a challenge, as only about half the homes come with parking. In addition, many streets are narrow, so there's not always parking on both sides of the streets, which limits the parking. The good side of parking here is that most homes in Georgetown have, or more homes, I would say, have a garage that is accessed from the front versus many other neighborhoods where parking is via the alley. I live in the city, and very often I use Uber, as it's much more convenient than looking for parking. And Uber is more prevalent than cabs are here in the city. Parking spaces do occasionally come available for purchase separately, and they can cost anywhere between $45,000 and $100,000 each. Okay, so let's quickly touch on the job market. After all, you're gonna need to be able to afford all of this luxury in Georgetown. Georgetown's proximity allows you access to most of the major employment hubs throughout the Washington area. Arlington, which is right across the Potomac River, is 10 to 15 minutes away. If you work on the business side of Arlington, which is Roslyn, it's even closer. The main business district of downtown Washington, which is predominantly along K Street, is 1.5 miles away. Tyson's, another hub for companies, is 12 miles, which could be 25 to 40 minutes depending on the time of day. Crystal City, which is the home of Amazon's new headquarters, is 5 miles away. Then you have Reston and Herndon are 19 miles, and Bethesda is 5.5 miles from Georgetown. The closest airport is Reagan National, which is 4.5 miles away. It's also worth noting that Georgetown does not have a metro stop. The metro is our subway service. The closest station is approximately 1 mile away. So here's a little secret that's not widely known outside of Georgetown residents, and one that you won't see walking the streets. And that secret is secret gardens. When I say garden, I mean the backyard. These green spaces are highly tranquil and beautiful. They're typically hidden from public view, which makes them a peaceful retreat from the urban environment. Residents typically put a lot of creativity and unique touches to their garden, which is a reflection of their pride in Georgetown, I've found. They range from former designs with manicured lawns and hedges to more eclectic bohemian type spaces filled with a variety of plants, flowers, and artwork. No two gardens are alike. So, is Georgetown walkable? Georgetown is considered a walker's paradise with a score of 96 out of 100. This walk score is based on the categories of dining, grocery, shopping, errands, parks, schools, and entertainment. Being one of DC's most popular destinations, though, for visitors and locals, Georgetown typically has a lot of foot traffic during peak times, especially on M Street and Wisconsin Avenue. Georgetown is also considered very bikeable with a bike score of 79. Though there is typically a lot of traffic in Georgetown, so commuting on a bike is not for the faint of heart. For recreation or fitness though, I would rate it excellent. You have the Capitol Crescent Trail, which runs 11 miles from Georgetown all the way to Bethesda, Maryland. It's mostly wooded and free from cars. And if you cross over the river, you have access to the Mount Vernon Trail, which is 8 miles. Actually, I think it's over 8 miles of beautiful paths running along the Potomac River, which you can take all the way through Old Town, Alexandria, and it ends in Mount Vernon, George Washington's home. And by the way, the rest of DC is very bike friendly as well. Bike.org or bikes.org ranks Washington, D.C. 8th among all large U.S. cities for bikeability. If you do want to travel via car, I'm sure you're interested to know what the traffic is like. Traffic in Georgetown is something which certainly needs to be considered. During peak commuting hours, such as weekday mornings and evenings, traffic congestion can be significant, especially on the major thoroughfares like M Street and Wisconsin Avenue. Additionally, Georgetown's narrow streets and historic layout can make it congestion worse, which makes navigating the neighborhood challenging, particularly for larger vehicles. Weekends and evenings typically see increased traffic due to the neighborhood's popularity as a dining, shopping, and entertainment destination. Tourist traffic and events can further contribute to congestion, particularly in areas near popular attractions like the Georgetown waterfront. So, are there things to do in Georgetown? Georgetown has many opportunities for culture and entertainment. M Street, Wisconsin Avenue, and the waterfront are lined with restaurants, shops, and cafes. In addition, there is the historic Dumbarton Oaks, which hosts art exhibits, concerts, and lectures throughout the year. The gardens at Dumbarton Oaks are breathtaking in the spring. National Geographic named them one of the 10 best gardens in the world. Yes, the world. Additionally, residents can enjoy outdoor recreation along the picturesque C&O Canal towpath, which offers miles of trails for walking and running and biking. If being on the water is more your thing, you can rent a rowboat, canoe, paddleboard, or kayak for a day on the water at the Key Bridge Boathouse. Georgetown Waterfront Park offers stunning views, recreational activities, and many delicious restaurants with the amazing views of the Potomac River, Key Bridge, and the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. My wife and I love to head over to the Waterfront Park for their outdoor summer movies on the lawn series. We bring a cooler, some lawn chairs, and some bug spray. At Waterfront Park, you can also book a sightseeing private boat charter or water taxi to one of DC or Virginia's other amazing waterfront destinations. The neighborhood is also home to numerous art galleries, theaters, and music venues. One such music venue, Blues Alley, is at the top of the list for evening entertainment options. Blues Alley is the nation's oldest continuing jazz supper club and is housed in an 18th century red brick carriage house. Talk about ambiance. Many of the jazz greats have played there. If you're more interested in historic homes, then you can take advantage of another fun thing my wife and I like to do, which is attend the Georgetown home tour. Every spring, a number of Georgetown's most beautiful historic homes open the door to allow the public to take a tour. A couple of years ago, Julia Child's Georgetown home was on the tour. What an amazing kitchen and entertainment space she had. Very cool. It's a great way to see some history, be inspired, and meet some of your neighbors. We love it. Okay, lastly, as I touched on before, Georgetown offers a ton of high-end shops and boutiques. When I need a unique gift, I go to Georgetown. You'll never be short on things to do or see living here. What about green space? There is plenty of park space to take advantage of. My favorite is Waterfront Park. It's 10 acres on the Potomac River. There is plenty of space to picnic, take a stroll along the Potomac. In addition, you have nearby Rock Creek Park, which is DC's version of Central Park. It's 1,700 acres reserved for walking, hiking, biking, tennis, and even horseback riding. There are also 3 different dog parks in Georgetown for your fur babies to enjoy and socialize. Okay, here is a unique story about Georgetown. If you watch any of the home shows on TV or follow real estate on Instagram, you will see the fairly recent craze of tiny homes, right? These unusually small living spaces. Well, DC has a few of those. However, they were built long before any trend. Several are right here in Georgetown, and they're better known as spite houses. The name came from the fact that someone would typically build them to spite their neighbors, blocking access to an alley or a driveway. This house here on 30th Street is just under 11 feet wide. In the 1800s, a couple originally lived in the home to the right, and when they divorced, the wife apparently moved out and built the spite house next door specifically to block all the light and air of her ex-husband's house and his north-facing windows. Also of note, there's an oval plaque in the middle of this house, which is a symbol representing an insurance company. This indicated to volunteer firemen that the house was insured, thus assuring them that they would be rewarded for saving that home. History shows a number of occasions way back when DC firemen allowed uninsured homes to burn. An even thinner spite house is this one on P Street. The outside of this 1-bedroom, 840 square foot row house is 9 feet wide, which makes it inside only 8.1 feet wide. It has the original hardwood floors from 1872, original beam ceilings, and a beautiful little garden out back. One final interesting attribute to the neighborhood of Georgetown you may not realize. Many well-known movies have been filmed here, probably the most famous being the 1973's The Exorcist. This was filmed partly at Georgetown University and its surrounding areas. The 75-step Exorcist steps, which the character Father Damien fell down, still attracts many tourists for photos to this day. Other well-known films include St. Elmo's Fire, No Way Out, True Lies, Minority Report, and Wedding Crashers. The most recent movie filmed here in Georgetown in the 2020s was Wonder Woman 1984. So, what about the schools? Georgetown is home to the prestigious Georgetown University, known for its academic excellence. It's a cornerstone of the neighborhood. It not only attracts students and scholars from around the world, but also adds so much to the local community with its lectures, performances, and exhibitions. Not to mention the campus is architecturally stunning. Overall, public schools in Georgetown are rated an A- by niche.com, and as a neighborhood, overall niche.com ranks Georgetown an A+. So we've discussed many aspects of Georgetown, its central location and its proximity to other parts of the Washington area, its wealth of amenities and attractions from chic shopping and restaurants and galleries and music venues to plenty of areas for outdoor recreation with waterfront parks and green spaces. We saw some of its historic charm with cobblestone sidewalks and beautiful architecture. It has a strong job market, great schools, and high walk and bike scores. The neighborhood also comes with its share of challenges, such as the high living cost, parking difficulties, traffic, and tourist crowds. Therefore, it might not be the right fit for everybody. I know one thing, it is definitely one neighborhood that you must experience to fully appreciate, even if just visiting. Okay, I know you may have additional questions, so reach out. My contact information is below, or you can schedule a Zoom at the link. It's the best way to answer many questions. Be sure to check out my other videos for other cities and neighborhoods in the DMV. Thanks for watching.